理解一个人从他的成长环境开始。Hello everyone, welcome to A Southern College Life. Today I'm here with my friend Shubham, and he's going to introduce Indian education with us. Shubham, say hi to the audience.
Hi everyone, I'm excited to be with Jackie and tell all about Indian education, and I'm looking for a nice conversation.
Sounds great, let's start. Where in India you grew up?
So I grew up in the western part of India. It's in a state, it's called Rajasthan. So this Rajasthan state has, the capital of the state is called Jaipur, and this is where I grew up. It's a pink city. So it has a lot of forts, a lot of history, a lot of culture. It's just a 4 hour train drive from New Delhi, which is the capital of India. So it's very close to capital. It has a lot of culture. It's called Pink City because all of the city, the interior of the city, and all those forts and everything is painted as pink. A lot of people house are painted as pink. So there are many places where you go and every house and every shop is painted in pink color. So hence it's Pink City.
Nice, nice.
And this is my cat, Muffin. Muffin, say hi. Hello.
How did you get into IISER Bhopal? How do you say it?
It's called IISER Bhopal.
Oh, IISER Bhopal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So IISER were the new institutes at my time of joining. So there were 5 IISERs were announced by Indian government to, these were the science institution. We have a lot of technology institution by the government. So these were central science institution. To get into that, I have to prepare for an exam. It's called IIT JEE exam, joint entrance exam. 10 million people, students give that exam. At my time, they have seats for 10,000 students. I tried for my IIT JEE, but I didn't score very good rank. So at the time, there was this new college about science, and I was always interested in science. So instead of going towards engineering, I went towards science. And I was the second batch of my institute. So my institute was very new. The first batch has only 19 students, and we were the second batch has only 50 students. The whole campus has been constructed in front of us, and there was a lot of challenges, a lot of fun. We wrote our institute constitution, all the rules and everything. So we, as a second batch, we kind of, built the institute, all the rules, constitution by ourselves, with the help of definitely with the faculties.
You grew with the school.
Yeah, we grew with the school. That's correct. Yeah.
You said there's one single exam for all engineering students. So that exam is only for IIT. So if you do other majors, not engineering majors, you don't take this exam.
No. There are other engineering colleges also, but IITs are the most prestigious one. Every city has hundreds of engineering colleges, so we have lots of engineering colleges, but these are the best ones. So to get into them, you have to be really, really good. Other than that, there are so many other different exams and different institutions. So there is an exam for if you want to take medicine. There is another exam. It's called MBBS exams, right? Like there are exams for different institutions.
Okay.
So it's not like
because, not like SAT.
Yeah, not like SAT and GRE. Okay. It's different. So in that exam, they ask you physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology. Yeah. So you have to know those things, concepts in deep.
Yeah, in China, also there's only one exam. To be more specific, 2 exams. And everybody takes either one of them. And no matter what they study after that, either it's engineering, science, economics, literature, or what, you take those exams. Like, we don't take different exams. Like, there's only one university entrance exam for the whole country, kind of.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But India is not the same. Like, different kinds of schools organize their own entrance exam.
Yeah, because these exams are not, like GRE or like based on the logic and simple mathematics and all. These are like exams where they ask you physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics in a very deep level. So it's not about like how your aptitude is. It's about how good you are with these subjects.
Oh, good, good. So IIT students before joining IIT, they already know a lot of physics and chemistry.
Yeah,
and
they have
stuff.
to know, otherwise they won't enter. Like there is another exam for MBA, right? IIM. So like just IITs is Indian Institute of Technology. Similarly, we have institutes called Indian Institute of Management, IIM. So those are also very prestigious colleges. So you have to be really, really good. So in those colleges, the exam for MBA, those exams are like GMAT.
But
yeah,
at the undergraduate level.
yeah, but you have to be like those are also very, very difficult to get into. You have to
Okay,
get like
okay.
99 percentile or something like those are the places you cannot get into by money.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
it
have this
doesn't
kind of
matter.
reputation.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like
It's not like Princeton, Howard, and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, you have to be selected to pay the fee. It doesn't matter if you are a son of a big politician or like a super rich or something. You cannot get into those. You have to clear the exam and then only you can go to those schools.
You moved from your hometown to Bhopal, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you like the city?
I really loved it because my hometown it's in Rajasthan, it's a desert state, and Bhopal was in a Madhya Pradesh. It's another town, and that was a very green town, like green state. Lots of trees, lots of lakes, and Bhopal is like a lot of beautiful lakes. There's one big lake in the middle of the city. It's really, really beautiful. The weather is pretty good, so when I went there, so I was very happy with the weather and all those things.
Nice.
Also, it's the first time I was, kind of
Away from home.
away from home, like, independent. I can do whatever I want. I was learning how to do things by my own. So it was a nice experience, and a lot of students with me are doing the same. So we were all, learning and growing together. So it was pretty cool.
What was the tuition of your school?
At my time, it was really, really cheap. Particularly in IISERs, I used to get around like $80 per month stipends from the institute. If your marks in the exams are like, if you are more than 7 pointers, 6 or 7 pointers, you get this scholarship, 5,000 rupees in India. So it was not very bad, it was not very good. It was okay, like you can live with that money. You don't have to ask your parents any money. And my tuition fees was maybe $100 for 6 months, including hostel, residence, and everything.
So, how did you choose chemistry as your major?
Because in IISER Bhopal, in the first 2 years, we were taught physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology.
Uh-huh.
All four subjects, and some electives too, right? Economics, psychology, and all those things. So, out of these four, after 2 years, we have to choose one major in which next 3 years I will be just doing its courses. So, other than chemistry, I was not very good in other subjects, so I thought chemistry is the. And I really love chemistry, so it comes natural to me. That's what I want to say.
Nice, nice.
Specifically, organic chemistry.
That's what we do. Like IISER Bhopal is a science institute,
Yeah.
so you can only do those science subjects.
Yeah, at that time you can only do that, but now it says started including courses in economics, data science, and a couple of other things.
Did you meet some difficulties in your undergraduate study?
Yeah, I have to study it. That was the difficult. No, I was just kidding. Yeah, difficulty means it's the life, right? You go through it, and
Yeah.
but there was not like there were some. Sometimes there was like a lot of assignments, a lot of things to submit, but I won't recall them as a very big difficulty. And other than that, I won't say that I had some difficulties like some groundbreaking difficulty or something which I have to remember it and think of it or something. It was a very fun ride. That's what I will say. I
So,
made a
so the
really good
difficulty
friends.
is very brief that you don't even recall.
Yeah, it's like normal things, not any.
Yeah. Tell us about one interesting course that you took in your undergraduate.
One of the most interesting course was there was on this pericyclic reactions.
So it's a course dedicated to pericyclic reactions. So
Yeah.
it's an advanced course already.
Yes.
In your last year, that kind of.
Yeah, I think it was in my third or fourth year.
Yeah. So what about that course?
I really enjoyed it because I didn't know about So only pericyclic reactions I know was the Diels-Alder reaction.
Oh.
So I know but you give heat and it moves. But when
Yes.
and when I read about in that course we know about light, like how to do photochemically, how to do this reaction. So there is a different mechanism in the way the arrow moves for light, and the same substrate give you different regioisomer if you give them heat. So it was very interesting to you are able to predict by counting the electrons. You can predict what kind of stereoisomer it will make, what kind of regioisomer, and from very simple things you can make a lot of complex molecules. So that was one of the course which I really enjoyed.
In United States, people call each other by first name, even when they are calling their teachers. How do you address teachers in India?
We call them sir and madam. If a teacher name is Sangeet, so I will call him Sangeet sir. We don't take first name of teachers.
Tell us about one interesting teacher.
So I did the 5-year BS MS dual degree course from IISER Bhopal.
Okay.
So it's a 5-year course. In the 5th year, what they do is you don't take any courses. You work in one of the research lab with one of the professor as a student, right? So in the last year, I worked in a organic chemistry lab. It was like mostly main group organic chemistry lab under Dr. Sangeet Kumar. I really like his personality. So he has this thing like if anyone do anything bad or do wrong or like some like we had a couple of PhD students who are like very naughty or like
How can PhD students be naughty?
Yeah, like naughty in the sense like they were very egoistic and some people they you tell them okay do this and they will say no I don't want to do this way is wrong, I will do that way.
Oh,
so
that's really common.
Yeah. So they are like very head high, and head high in a funny way too. Sometimes things get heated up when they are talking and they are not listening. But this professor, Dr. Sangeet Kumar, he always had this funny way. So he always make the situation very funny, and he just instead of escalating, instead of getting heated up, he just make a little bit fun about the situation and personality, and everyone calm down and listen to him what he's saying. So I really liked his attitude about these things.
Wow, it sounds like an amazing leader.
Yeah, that's what I really like him, that if things get heated up, he just come up with something very funny about the situation, about the person, about something, like not in an offending way.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I think most professors in those situations will only make the situation more tense.
Yeah.
Generally, it's the students who tries to de-escalate. But
Yeah.
this professor is doing this kind of work, so everybody is happy. I think the atmosphere in the group must be great.
Yeah, he's like one of the kind professors. So I've not seen many of professors even in United States do that.
Yeah.
And he was very friendly. Like he was like personally engaged with you. So when I'm applying for US for the courses for the university looking for PhD, he was really helpful with me in preparing my things, and he will tell me, okay, this is what is right and what is wrong. Like it's not like he was spoon feeding me, but he always liked to show people the right direction to walk, or at least show them like there are not only one option, there are like 3 options. You gotta look this side too, and then you decide.
Yeah, following that, tell us about what you learned from your research experience.
So at the time, I learned that research is difficult. It's not very simple. It's not mundane, right?
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
when we read the research paper, those are like JAX or there are like 2 papers or 3 papers in hand, right, and a little bit of supplementary information. But writing those 2 to 3 paper, it takes like years of work, and how if you like the reaction looks very simple on the paper, but how they come up with those conditions and those starting materials and all those things, it requires real patience and real observation, that maybe what you are trying to do is not happening in the reaction, but if you observe it nicely, you will see something else is happening, and that may be better than what you are trying to do. So always observe your reaction and always be mindful of your experiment. That's what I learned from there.
That's great lessons. I think observation is really the key of all the chemistry.
Yeah.
Not only organic.
Yeah. there are so many discoveries that happen by serendipity, you know. So this can happen with only the people who are good observer.
How many students like were in your class?
Yeah, initially I said we were 50 only.
50.
50. So I was the second batch. Now I think they take around 200 or 300 students.
Okay, so in those 50 students, what did they do after graduation?
There are a couple of avenues. Like some went to the teaching, so they started their own teaching institutes, and some went to the management side. They did MBA, and are now they are like managers at big firms and all those things. A lot of students come to US for doing their PhD.
So there's very few people doing industrial chemistry work right after graduation. You said teaching or management, but very few chemistry. They have to get a PhD to do chemistry.
Yes, yes. Most of the students who are doing any chemistry, they did PhD.
It's basically the same in China. If you want to stay in chemistry, you generally stay in the school longer.
Yeah, that's the thing, because there are jobs for masters and bachelor students in science, but those jobs are not very rewarding.
Yeah, not very desirable.
Yeah, so you have to go to the higher education.
Interesting to know that it's all the same.
I think there is a lot of similarity between, I guess, in India and China, because and all of the East, like I think the East,
global South.
Yeah, so we all are like have ancient civilization, respect for other. Like I don't think China people call their father and mother by their first name.
No.
We have this respect. The culture is there, and I think it's the same thing maybe in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka, in Japan, and all like in Korea. In Asia. Yeah. Most of the Asian places have their own culture where many things are similar. I think the school systems are kind of similar.
But there are enough differences that we are very curious to learn about.
Yes. That is nice.
Yeah. Were all the courses taught in English, or some of it was taught in Hindu?
I think all the courses were in English. So I think most of the college levels, like after from school, I don't even know there is any college where they teach in Hindi. Maybe there's a universities and college where there is a subject called Hindi where they teach in Hindi.
In order for a language, for a culture to grow, it has to constantly absorbing new things, exploring new things, like creating new words.
Yeah.
Because people are not teaching and doing research in Hindu, only in English. So the Hindu culture kind of more reserved to traditional singings and dramas and everyday life.
Yeah.
Do you feel it's kind of a little bit of shame that you cannot use your own language to do research and to teach and to communicate the science and engineering stuff?
So the thing is that we have some ancient texts like Ayurveda and all those things. We started speaking English to communicate with the British people or something. So it's maybe very recent, like 100 years or 200 years old, right? But before that, there was a lot of science being done in India.
Yeah.
There are like papers, like there was this Calcutta University where there is this scientist Bose. He has some papers with Einstein, like he's the first author with Einstein, and so there were like a lot of science was done at that time, and there were their own words, right? Their own Hindi words for all the science. But nowadays, because of the world has become a global world, right? You get some result, but those results are useless if you cannot communicate with other people, right? If you cannot prove that, okay, you have this result, and if you cannot tell, you cannot share your data with a person who's sitting in Norway or a person who's sitting in like Venezuela or something. So I think it's nice that as a science community, so we all come to this one language, because science is not done for, I guess, for a nation or for a community or for a city. I guess science is done for humans. As a humans, we want to evolve. So I think it's not. I really like that all the scientific community use one language. So I know whatever somebody who is doing work in Norway, what he has done, and I can learn from him and do something better.
Yeah, it's just if all the new things are generated in English, then English is eventually going to be so big that scratching all other languages.
Yeah, it's true, but I guess
In Japan and in Germany, their top scientific journal, they all have their own like German and Japanese versions of it.
yes,
So the knowledge within their own globe is also growing. Yeah, I think they make an effort to resist English a little bit.
yeah, but I think that's I guess those journals were being published before they had this English one, so they always have their
No,
own.
Angle has German version, you know.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Anglo weren't there, but I
Yeah.
think the German was older than the English one. So
No,
they
no.
always had the German one,
Yeah.
and then they started doing it in English.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
see what
so
you're
it's
saying.
not the other way around,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's not they are registering, it's just they started communicating to the world too. So they were doing it in German way before they were writing, they had the general, but then they thought, okay, what we are doing is it doesn't make any sense if we cannot share with all over the world. So I think then they started doing it in English, and then they are sharing with everyone. Because science is for everyone, right? If you solve a problem, you find a vaccine like coronavirus, it's not for a country, like it solved the whole pandemic of the whole world. So yeah, I think all the people who used to do in other languages are coming to English to make this more shareable, the knowledge.
Yes.
So I don't feel like the threat of the English to the own native language or something, because I think everyone in India, like they all speak in their language. When they are at house, they are speaking one language, right, with their family and all those things. They are never going to start only just going to talk in English or something, right? But for the science thing, if they started doing in Hindi and then their translation, I don't think making it more complicated than it need to be is a good idea.
Okay. So you think it's safe in the home? At home, English will never invade.
Yeah, I think it's in the city, everyone is speaking the same language, Hindi. And I think in India, most of the people speak like two or three languages. Like my wife speak like 7 to 8 languages. So people know a lot of language. They mix words. Like so, when people speak, generally they speak with a lot of mixed words from 5 words from this language, 5 words from this language, five from this, and they speak like this in a complicated language. And I think that language is going to prevail in India. And that is the most interesting language, right? When we speak in Hindi also, there is always like in a sentence few words are of English, few words from some other dialect, and depends from the area to area.
Okay.
There are like some words which I speak in Hindi, but those are English words, and I don't know their Hindi name. So it's very complicated.
It's a very complicated topic. It's interesting that you don't feel threatened by English.
No, I welcome it.
Oh, good.
Because of that English, we were able to come US, right? Because we know the language. Otherwise, if you didn't know the language, it will be much very difficult to come and learn, right? If you wanted to do a PhD in US, the most important thing for you was this: they teach in English. If they were teaching in like German or something, it will be much difficult for you, right?
My major concern is like every language has its own literature, its memories embedded in the language. Like all the literatures, history books, stories books, all the past memories of a certain kind of people are in that language. As more and more people speak in English and all the other languages dies out, and those memories are also gone. So I feel like it's a little bit of a shame. It's becoming one global language. I think, but I also think this in the future there will only be one language on this earth, and as we evolve into a species like Earth species or whatever, there's only will be one, maybe in 200, 300 years. But what I want is that this language will be maybe instead of 99% English, this language will be a mixture of maybe 30% English and 20% Chinese, like 20% Hindu, and a huge mixture of things. I don't want this future language to be a 99% English stuff.
Yeah, it's not what we want, but what is going it to be. I think it will be like
Yeah.
because it's already winning. Like there is
Yeah.
this joke by Louis C.K. There's a comedian if you've seen it. So he said like the Christians, they won the earth, they won all the nations, and people were saying, hey, what are you saying? How can you say this and that? And they said that, okay, the whole world, when it goes to 31st of December, whole world celebrate New Year. They are celebrating of 1st of January as New Year, like huge celebration all around the world. And like in China, in Japan, in India, in Iraq, in Dubai, everywhere everyone celebrate 1st of January. And why is that? What is 1st of January 2020? It's like 2020 years after the Christ. So it is like this, but this is a joke. Like, if you think like in this way, this is like, oh, we all have adopted without knowing or not knowing. Like, there is a Hindu New Year, right? There is a Chinese New Year. There are all kind of New Years we have in our things. But I think the biggest celebration, if cumulatively around the whole world for New Year, is happened on 1st of January. So, it's already with us, like this Western civilization. What we do is like, I think there are like KFC, burger joints in Japan. I was reading a document, it says like in Japan, the Christmas dinner is KFC dinner. Everybody on Christmas, they eat KFC or something like that. So it's a tradition now there. So you can see. Yeah.
The Japanese, I don't think they really like KFC. I think it's a joke.
It's a joke. I think I are like, maybe we can Google it later. Yeah, but it was so funny to me.
Okay.
There is always two sides of the coin, right? We can think of it's invading and all those things. But the other thing is that in India, how we do is, Hindi is the language. So for first 10 years of your life, we read Hindi, we read the books, the scriptures and all. So we know what is it, how to speak, how to write. Everyone is taught that, right? And then we learning English as a subject, as another language. So already we learn like 2 to 3 languages in school, and the one we were taught around it. But I think it's really important that whole of the world become one, right? And how can we become one? By speaking like the same language, same thing. If everyone is same, there will not be any war. How will we war with each other, right? What is it? There is no difference. You eat KFC, I eat KFC. How will we make a war? So this is good and bad.
Yeah.
It's a long and slow process, but I think everything will come into an equilibrium kind of thing. So
yeah. It's all physics, social physics.
Yeah.
It's going to reach its final stage.
And even English is changing too. Like the English they speak in England, it like 100 years ago, it was very different English, and now this English is different. So this English has already inputs from all around the world, right? So it's kind of evolving too. So what you're saying that 30% is 40%.
It's already
it's
already.
Yeah, it won't be like that, but it will be not even English. It will be different dialect. We will be speaking 100 years. The words will change.
Yeah, I'm really interested in this question, but it's already taking too long.
Yeah.
What did you do for fun during your undergraduate?
I was like a very traveler, like a travel kind of person. So I went, like whenever I have some time, I used to travel around the city on my motorcycle. I used to drive a motorcycle there. A lot of people drive motorcycles in India actually. It's not anything new. And so I used to like find out new places, new restaurants, new places to hang out. I used to play cricket. It's one of the most famous sport in India. Yeah, that's what I used to do for fun. The game of cricket, the game of table tennis, or if I have some more time, I used to go on my bike with my friends around the city, find new restaurant. It was a very beautiful city, so sometimes we would just go to the lake. You can rent a boat very cheap. It's like $50 per hour. So you take it for 2-3 hours. You take the boat in the middle of the lake and you just sit and relax, read a novel, listen to music, and it's nice and beautiful.
Sounds very fun.
Yeah. Those were old days. It was so much fun.
But Bhopal is very hot weather.
In summer, yeah, it can get hot for like 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, they are reaching highest temperature 40 degrees Celsius for 2 months. How do you get through that?
So generally the rooms have coolers and ACs and fans and all this. So inside there is no problem. But when you go outside by bike or by from one place to other place, it just you get used to it. But it's hot, right? You can't do anything. It's hard to get a lot of sweat and something like that. But it is the nature of the place.
Do they use like umbrellas to block off the sun?
Yeah, some people use umbrella. Like generally, girls use umbrella, boys use cap.
What are some advantages and disadvantages of living in Bhopal?
Advantages is like it's pretty cheap. It's in the center of India, so you get train for every part of the India. Wherever you want to go, you get a plane or you get train. Trains are the preferred way of going around because it's very cheap, and students generally don't have that much money, right? So this is one advantage. This beautiful city, beautiful food. Like it's really good food in Bhopal. It has a lot of Muslim population, so the non-vegetarian food is very good. And the city is very chill, right? There is not a lot of crime. There is nothing. It's like a small city kind of vibe. So I love that kind of stuff. Disadvantages, I will say again the same thing. It's a small city. It doesn't have all the things what big cities have, like big malls or something like that. If you're into it, or a big concert or something, those are not there.
Is there a lot of drugs and drinking on the campus?
Drugs, no. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a Bhopal is a small city. I don't think the drugs have reached to Bhopal. People like yeah, I know many people who smoke. I know people who drink, but it's not like a problem. Like when the exam is over, some people like go into a bar, have a couple of beers, something like that. When there is somebody's birthday or something, people used to get like a whiskey or beer or something like that. So generally the alcohol is for the celebrations, and drugs I have never seen.
What is local specialties?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's a Muslim city, so there's a very good non-veg food. There is this guy who made mutton paya soup. So it's a soup in which they put the legs of the goat, simmer it for like a long time. So it has all the bone marrows and all coming in the soup. So it's one of the specialty. The leg is a specialty. So there are very nice fish dishes like tandoori fish are very good over there. Another thing is a snack. It's called poha. It's a puffed rice kind of thing. They make it. It's very special there. If you go in the morning, you will see hundreds of people selling it on the roadside and everywhere. In the morning is breakfast. It was pretty good. It's very cheap. You cannot make that at home. You can make it. I make it, but it's not as good as the roadside vendors. I think I will visit Bhopal very soon. I miss a lot of food from there.
Yeah. What do you think is the major difference between Indian universities and American universities?
The major difference is like American universities has like these options. There are so many different options. You can take a course in tennis, you can take a course like one course in literature and maybe doing a chemistry major, and one course in like each history of pyramids or something like that. Like you can do so many things, you can explore yourself, right? But in India, if you are into the chemistry or if you choose a major, you are taking like 4 or 5 courses of that major. Like they are more focused toward things. Like if you choose one thing as your major, you will be just reading about that and things that related to it. Like if you are a chemistry major, you can do a minor in biology or maybe physics, right? Because if you do chemical physics or chemical biology, so it will be a nice thing, right? But you cannot, you won't be able to take a course in like art or something. Because it's generally not offered in the premier institutes where like they are much more focused. Like IITs are all focused toward engineering and science, right? IISER is all about science and all. There are art universities where everything is all about art. So small institutes but more focused on what they do, right? In US it's like big university, they do everything. You come here and you can just find out what you want to do. So it's a big difference.
I don't know this before. Like I know IIT, but I don't know all the Indian schools are all very focused on their respective areas.
Yeah.
What was the best part of your undergraduate master experience?
Friends. Meeting so many different kind of people, making them friends and understanding. Because before that I lived my whole life in Rajasthan, right? So it's a central university. So I go to there are people from all over the different part of India. So I get to meet them, learn from their, things like what their culture, how they speak, slight differences in their language, even though they are speaking Hindi or English, but they add few words from their own side, and so learning so much about meeting some different people, eating different food, understanding the experience of different people. So that was I think this was the most important thing. That made me a much more nicer person because before that I didn't know these kind of people. Right? It made me more mature and intelligent. I can deal with people.
It's one of the perks of the national universities
Yes.
that you have classmates from all parts of the country.
And the other one of the thing what I can think is doing work in a real research lab, right? So when you first time enter the research lab, you got the real research project. You're learning how to do high temperature reaction, putting the reflex condenser for the first time, or using a rotaweb first time, or solving your own NMR. Like there are courses in which they give you peak, and then you made this compound, you check the NMR, and you see, oh yeah, it is. So yeah, it was really nice.
For most of my Chinese audience, you probably is going to be the only one that they know from IISER Bhopal.
Yeah.
So what is the most important thing that you want all the strangers to know about your university?
It's a very nice place. You gotta, and I think it's a place where you'll find many open-minded liberal people. So if any one of you, I know China has very good universities, but want to have some, experience for a semester, they have summer internship too. So you can come for a summer and do a small scientific project with the faculties. Everyone is speaking English in the lab, so you won't have any language problem. All the faculties have at least done their postdocs from US, so they kind of follow US curriculums. If you get a problem set, it may be a problem set by a very famous problem set given by a famous professor in Princeton to his student, and you might be solving that. And the food is very great, so visit IISER Bhopal, you won't be disappointed. It's a magical place.
I am definitely going to visit if I'm traveling in India, which is a matter of when, not if. Thank you for listening for such a long time, and I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. We will see you in the next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.
You gotta like and subscribe.